the gigs you're playing in Manchester. Okay. How do you bill it? How do you bill yourselves as?
Well, it is difficult.
Because I sort of think of you as a Gorillaz tribute band, but that may be
Yeah.
insulting.
Well, what I wanted to do was just because I've never done it before, and there's no way I can actually perform in the kind of classic sense of the word. So I decided that it'd be really nice to play the whole album in sequence with everybody who's on the record. So that includes about 16 strings, 25 gospel choir, 30 kids choir, and a basic band of 7, and then all the artists. So.
And is it going to be conventional? There's a band on stage.
You won't be able to see the band. The band. It works. The band are at the back. They've got huge, great coloured squares behind them. So all you see is their silhouette.
Oh, okay.
They're right at the back of the stage. Then you've got the gospel choir there, and the strings there, and then each guest walks to the front, and there's a pool of light on them when they're performing.
Right.
But you never see the band; they're just sort of shadowy figures at the back.
Oh, okay.
But they're like a kind of I'm performing it like a film score, except we're not running it with the film.
Yeah.
It's more we're not. There's not even actually any. A lot of the visuals are kind of a lot of National Geographic footage. The world. It's just really beautiful. I mean, we're trying to make it just something that's not really, because we're doing something with the cartoons in a year and a half's time, which will actually be like walking into a cartoon. There'll be 3D images flying around on stage, performing everything. But that is, I mean, basically we've been trying to find since year 2000 we've been trying, and 2007 is when we've actually technology and the funds and everything
catches up with.
Well, it's it was an idea that wasn't feasible when we started, but it will be then.
So I've slightly misunderstood Manchester. So you'll see Shawnee Ryder or whatever.
You will.
Somewhere near the spotlight. Yeah. And so will we see you?
No, I see it.
No, I see. I've misunderstood.
You'll
This has been misrepresented to us. I think this was Gorillaz unmasked.
No, not at all. Well, I'm never going to be unmasked from it. It's pointless. It's the whole discipline is not to.
I thought this was Bruce Wayne riding in the Batmobile.
No. No, that would be pointless, because that's all that work would just, yeah. But it's okay seeing the artists, I think, because they're, I mean, they appear in the videos now, and it's, no, but it's just that I got, although I miss it, I really miss it now. I got absolutely sick to death of the ritual of performing, and the whole thing just became just. I felt I was spending more time trying to, because I've never. I think the problem is that I find it very difficult to play and sing at the same time.
Yeah.
In the studio.
I've never understood how people do that.
Pardon?
I've never understood how people do that.
Well, Graham, for example, has always been able to do it. He was always able to play really difficult parts and sing, and I could never do that. I just can't. I think it's because I'm left-handed or something. I don't know, but my brain won't. As soon as I can do either effortlessly, but when I have to try and put the two together, it's very difficult. So by being at the back and having not to concentrate at all on anything out front, I can actually do it, but it's just, I'm just headphones and almost back to the audience and concentrate. So I find it really difficult.
So play, sing and perform.
I can't do it. No, impossible for me, Well, anything of any kind of sort of anything. If I'm playing stuff that follows,
Well, but you see, you sing. I mean, your vocal. You don't phrase your vocals tightly in with the rhythm, do you? So
no,
that you
not
kind of
at all.
float across.
Yeah,
so
I do.
It's
Yeah,
actually two things.
yeah, it always. Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a chance to really concentrate on just playing music. I just play upright piano and sing. But I really, at the moment, I enjoy more just being a musician than being a performer. I think it's just I've done it for so many years now. I mean, I didn't enjoy really enjoy the last Blur tour. I hated playing the old material. I just found that really depressing. Well, without Graham, it just didn't sound the same. So, But saying that, I'm just finishing another record which I will play live next year.
This is a solo album.
Yeah, it's not really a solo album. It's a group of incredible musicians. So you know, in the 80s it would have been a super group, but it has to.
Or the 70s.
Or the 70s. Yeah, no, but the super group became an awful beast in the 80s to me. In the 70s it was okay. Yes, it's kind of back to the 70s sort of attitude to super groups, where it's super musicians as opposed to super personalities.
Well, can you talk about that, or are you just teasing them?
I can't talk about it because the people who are involved don't really. I mean, I tend to kind of just blurt everything out way before it happens, because I kind of find that as a way of making sure it gets done.
Yeah.
But the people are kind of so iconic in many ways that I think it spoils it if I talk about it.
Okay. Is that in a schedule somewhere, or is that coming
Yeah,
out?
as soon as this record stops selling records, that one will come out.
Right, okay. Alright. And the Gorillaz tour is not till 2007 because it takes that long to do it, make it happen.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to find the money as well, because I mean it's millions and millions of pounds to set it up initially, but as soon as it's done it can play simultaneously in 10 cities, 365 days a year.
Vegas.
What is it?
3 shows nightly.
Absolutely. Matinees, evening show and late show. And you know, we're intending to actually do that and have a different kind of dialogue with the cartoons for the different shows. So, but all that requires, as far as personnel is concerned, is the people to set up the top secret kind of machines that make cartoons appear, and someone to press a button.
And the idea of them being on tour, if I understand it right, is that it will evolve through a tour. They will behave like they're on tour. It's not going to be the same show everywhere.
Well, evolve in the sense, I mean, yeah, I think the dialogue will change. But I mean,
Hello, Stockholm.
A little bit more than that. But it's impossible for. I mean, you know, we're not. We have the technology. Computers haven't arrived at that point where things can evolve independently of awful lot of hard work and pre-production. So yeah, one day maybe they will be sort of semi-organic thinking things, cartoons, and God knows what the world will look like when that
Yogi
happens.
Bear was smarter than the average bear already, of course.
Yeah, well, they've always been smarter than us. Always. That's why we love them so much.
topical moment, so I've got to ask you that question, which is going to sound like a stupid question, but it's an area that might be interesting eventually.
Okay, let's see where it goes.
Which is, when you write songs, do you sit down to write Gorillaz songs, Mondo, Blur songs, supergroup songs?
It's not a supergroup. I call it solo album, but
what have you written? What do you write on the CDs you take home? So what do you call it?
Okay. Well, I'm also writing a musical at the moment.
Of course you are.
And I've got to start working on an opera soon as well.
Right.
So, what I tend to do is my CDs, and there are an awful lot of them, those blank TDK CDRs, which, I mean, I recall I work on cassette and 4-track.
Yeah.
And I tend to put, I mean, for example, the beginning of this year, a lot of them had the solo record initially started working in Nigeria, so tapes would have Nigeria, and then if there was something for the theatre, it would have theatre, and then it would have miscellaneous. Kind of, that's pretty, but they can move between. It's not. I mean, you know, when you ask sort of like a film composer or a songwriter who's not exclusive, no one seems to have a problem with the fact that they can write in different areas.
No, it's not that. It's just that last year I was interviewing Frank Black.
Right.
And of course I was asking him, you know, you're going to write, is it going to be, the new Pixies album, and he said, well, that depends on whether I can write new Pixies songs. And I said, so when you write a song, it's either a Frank Black song or a Pixies song? He said, yes, definitely. And
I don't know how that works. I don't know how that works because I can only write songs.
Yeah. For him, it was something to do with.
Well, for example, I think it's all in the way you approach them after the initial idea. I mean, for example, with Gorillaz, if you put live drums on a Gorillaz, it doesn't sound like Gorillaz.
Yeah, what we done?
So, it's as simple as that.
It never used to be like that. I don't know last year, it's not what we need. Last year, no, not at all. Yeah, the only thing that varies is the mood of the song, really. I mean, but I try not to write. Any time I've ever tried to write in a style, it failed miserably. You know, so there's no. It's not premeditated.
You're starting out on cassette 4-tracks, but you've got a studio which is Pro Tools and whatever. So presumably any bit of any song could end up in any bit of any other song, and once you're there, it's all...
Yes, it requires an awful lot of filing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've got a brilliant team of people
Because you have thousands of things labelled new song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's, you know, they're kind of going to subdivisions of ideas.
Yeah.
Idea 1 to 20, subdivision 4, the project for A/B, you know. A lot of stuff gets lost, I have to admit. Does stuff from Marley end up on a Gorillaz? There's a couple of bars of this turned into a sample on a Gorillaz album. Well, there's no samples on this album.
Okay. Perhaps I didn't mean sample. Perhaps I meant, you know.
I gave up kind of doing samples. I mean, because I've got such a sort of eclectic studio. If there's an atmosphere I want to create, I can generally kind of do a kind of real sort of basic interpretation of it myself.
on my own library.
Yeah. And so, at what point does a producer come into the equation? Because you would think that you wouldn't really need a producer as such. But
Well, I always need a collaborator producing.
right.
I mean, at the moment, I found, for me, the best producer in the world, which is Brian Burton, Dave's Mouse, and he's actually doing this new album. He's working on this new album as well.
Oh, okay.
I tend to work well with producers because I kind of I have that kind of head myself. You know? But it's usually about halfway through a record, someone comes in and, you know,
Focuses it a bit.
focuses it, yeah. Yeah, I don't think I could ever do an album entirely on my own. Yeah, so I can either start one entirely on my own, or I could finish someone else's off entirely on my own. You know. I wouldn't want to anyway. I don't. That's why the word solo album really seems disingenuous. Yeah, it's very sad and a bit disingenuous because it's never a solo effort entirely, you know.
Yeah.
And even if you do record, master, write everything on your record, do the artwork, everything, you know, very, very rarely are you also selling it and organising the press, and you know, so there's, it's just a silly term.
Yeah.
It's like solo and world music are the kind of my two pet hates.
You're a fan of world music, Damon.
I'm a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm committed to cross-cultural. ness.
Yes.
But world music is it's not correct. The pedant in me has trouble with that term.
As all embracing terms go, that's as all embracing as you can get.
Well, yeah, but what it actually doesn't. It's world outside of our world music.
Yeah, it went short for rest of the world music.
Yeah, rest of the world, exactly.
The rest of the world, yeah.
Exactly.
Although you could say world music, it just depends where you are at the time. But we don't think of it like that, we think of it as the rest of the world. Yeah. Everywhere that isn't the UK and the USA.
Yeah. Yeah, like the NME doesn't do world music as I kind of sort of realised when I took one of the journalists to Mali.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in the reference. It can't. You know.
Although they gave a very good review to Amadou and Mariam, so there's some journalists on there.
Yeah, but the Amadou and Mariam record is very much Manu Chao's, another Manu Chao record, kind of disguised as.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
No, it's fine.
That's not
It's
UK
fine.
indie music either, is it? It's like
Just listen. I love it. Don't think that I'm criticising it. I'm just saying that was their in, which is good.
Yeah.
Good, but
that's equally foreign and strange to the enemy as Mali.
yeah, but he had made that particularly easy listening for people. You know, the rhythms had been totally kind of changed.
So let's just join two things here. You're saying that you're going to perform the whole Demon Days album as in sequence.
As it is.
You also said that touring with Blur, you got fed up doing all, you found it difficult to do the old material.
Yeah, I didn't get fed up. I find it really it's a painful experience to play stuff which belonged to a band when one member was missing.
Okay. Yeah.
It was easy to do stuff from the think tank.
Yeah.
So that was the only bits I looked forward to in the evening, because they felt natural. They felt like they were being played correctly.
Yeah.
Because the rest just sort of, and I really felt for the guitarist Simon, who was having to fill those shoes. He was brilliant, and I mean I work with him all the time on everything.
Yeah.
I mean I think he's just an amazing guitarist, but it's not nice for anyone to play someone else's stuff, especially when it's so kind of sort of individual.
Yeah. So even Gorillaz don't play the old material.
No.
Which is quite a radical move for a pop.
I've always
Single selling band. No?
It doesn't really bothered me, that sort of thing. I'm not really interested with my past. You know, I've always kind of felt that what's happening in the present is more relevant.
I suppose with
No, it's not. It's just that this is a particular exercise.
But I got the impression that you were going to, the tour was going to be like that as well. Did I misunderstand?
There'll be a couple of old songs.
Right.
For example, in Manchester, we're finishing the show with footage of Ivan Ferrer recording in my studio in 1999. Without the first take, we actually filmed it, so which is a really beautiful bit.
Yeah. There's been a bit of a thing recently for performing a whole album. There's been the Don't Look Back series. Brian Wilson's been doing it. David Bowie did it.
What did he do?
He did. David Bowie a few years ago. David Bowie did Low.
Oh yeah.
And whatever would it have been Hours, or would it have been whatever was the new? It wasn't Reality. I think it was Hours. He did all of Low and then all of the new album.
I like stuff like that.
It's interesting. It's definitely. I don't.
Well. Maybe pop music is branching out into different families, you know. I mean, I certainly consider myself an intelligent musician. You know, take it seriously.
Even though you can't sing and play at the same time.
Yeah, but you know. Yes, but
Can as long as nobody's watching. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes don't have to worry about kind of sort of
smiling at the front row.
Well, not so much smiling, just worrying about that connection with them.
Yeah.
I think some records, Low definitely can work as a piece. I think Demon Days can work as a piece. So there are lots of records that were took their form in the studio from that attitude that this is a story or a series of small stories that work together. Some records are just a series of songs, and maybe they don't need to be played in order.
Yeah.
But when you've gone to a lot of effort to make sure they all the ebb and flow of the record, then it seems a shame to chop it up with loads of you know.
Yeah.
And here's a hit from 5 years ago, right in the middle of something you've spent all that time trying to make, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, quite a dark world that you've created on the album. Is that going to translate to the show? I mean, is it going to be a sort of dark and intense thing, or does it all get reinvented when you do it live?
You have to ask Jamie about that.
Right.
Because I mean, at the moment, I'm just in rehearsal trying to work out how we can fit all those musicians and so they can all hear each other and all play together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And he's preoccupied with what it looks like live, which is, you know, which is why it's such a appealing band.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone can just concentrate on the thing they love the most.
Yeah.
And I don't have to. I know everything that Jamie will do. I like.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be exactly what I would do,
Yeah.
but that's you know the trust and it is there, so it doesn't.
You don't tell him how to draw, and he doesn't tell you how to sing.
Exactly. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's the greatest band I've ever been in, just in the sense that it's so balanced and harmonious.
Yeah. Well, that must be part of it. And that I remember seeing an extreme example. I remember seeing a Red House Painters gig, and the guitarist was in the middle of a solo, and Mark Kozolek, the singer, was just looking at him like this, really, really concentrating hard, and sort of looking at the floor, looking at all his pedals. And he just walked over and he just picked up one of the pedals like that. The guitarist just took his guitar, put it down, walked off the stage, and come back on.
Yeah, we had a few of those kind of moments over the years.
And I think, well, you can't really do that in Gorillaz because you're not going to get out the old magic markers, are you? It's
No,
like,
there's no conflict.
yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, sometimes it's the conflict that makes the whole thing tick. But you know, you can't step on each other's toes because I mean we don't even work in the same environment. I mean, he tells me if he thinks something's really shit, and I do the same, but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. It's it's brilliant. It's just a brilliant idea because you can make your own rules up as you go along.
Yeah, we've just come back from China, Jamie and me. He might probably talk to you about it as well. And that's related to this opera that we're going to work together. And we won't call it Gorillaz, but it's exactly the same. I say here do the visuals and I do the music.
Sorry, I missed that. The opera it's not Gorillaz, but it
is Gorillaz.
It is Gorillaz.
But it won't be called Gorillaz.
Cool.
But it's the same two people working together in the same way.
Yeah.
But it's not with a band.
It's not with those characters. The musical
that's something different. That's kind of working with the National Theatre. And again, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about that. It is happening. Some people like talking about things. So some people are very superstitious. Say, I don't want to talk about anything.
Yeah, in case it doesn't happen.
In case it doesn't happen. And I'm the opposite. I just
get it out there.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm not precious about when people. The only reason I'm not talking about I'm going to tell you who the musicians are in the other I think it's because they don't want me to. Otherwise I'd be telling everybody because I'm really excited to be working.
Just don't want.
Just the way, very different ways of, you know.
Yeah. So is there a light at the end of the tunnel on Demon Days? Is there hope at the end of this?
Well, it opens with the question, are we the last living souls? Which is fairly bleak.
Well, I know it's fairly bleak, 95% of the way. I'm just wondering if you could sort of read out a glimpse of a happy ending somewhere in it. I haven't got the lyrics with me, so I can't do it. But
The lyrics aren't the most important thing in Gorillaz. I've always kind of been very relaxed about whether it makes that much sense or not, because it's a cartoon as far as I'm concerned.
See, no, it doesn't.
No, good. Good, because there's meant to be bits that kind of stick in your head and go, what does that mean?
It's key phrases.
Key phrases.
Yeah.
But I think that works in context of the cartoon nature.
Yeah. But if you picked out most of the key phrases, you'd think, Christ, what a world.
Yes.
Shit, I should have brought something at the end. There's a line at the end, and you just think, oh, is that? The distance.
And Dennis Hopper.
Yeah,
and there was nothing.
No. What's the track after that?
Track after that is go on a plane to the country. There was a country sound. There was crack on the corner and someone dead. And fire coming out of the monkeys.
No, that's not too good, is it? No, it's pretty. It's pretty apocalyptical. Okay. No light at the end of the tunnel. They live in a tough world, those Gorillaz, don't they?
They do. No, there is. The last song, the finale.
The choir, the one with the big
Suns.
Yeah.
Might come out again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I mean at that point in that record, we really
Throw us a line,
we were all desperate. No, we had lots. We had a few. We had a hard time, but we finished the record off under the Westway in Hammersmith through November and December, and it's not a nice place to be.
As opposed to the first album you finished in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Did you not think that we should do that again? Get a bit of light and...
No, because...
Let alone a nicer place to work.
No, because... I think we were just trapped in that state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
That last song was just a sort of last effort to try and break that frame of mind, negativity.
Mm. Well, I mean, it is a darker world we live in suddenly.
Yeah, I mean, since that sort of switched the machines off at the end of making that record, I've really tried to make things more upbeat, but they're not quite as negative, but they've just gone more reflective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have that English sense of melancholy in my music. I just do. That's where it's where the tunes come out of that.
Yeah.
That feeling.
Yeah.
So, it's a weather thing.
I suppose so. It's a weather thing, it's an urban thing.
But I've got all the music I love that you put from all over the world. It's just, it's like being in China. Jamie and I, we were travelling around mountain tribes in the southern provinces, notably with the Dong people and the Miao people who live on the border with Burma. Or Myanmar, as it's correctly named. A lot of the music I found very difficult to feel anything for, but occasionally there'd be these kind of melancholic phrases and need it. Give me more of that. I want that. That's what I want. I just like that in music.
Well, the sad songs are always the best.
They tend to be. I'm in a cage. I can't escape. The artist's cage. Okay.
It was a metaphor, but no.
Have you been there before?
I live in there. Talking of cages, my mate Banks has got an exhibition opening today about 10 doors down from my house, where he's got he's got 200 live rats on the floor.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, I went to see it yesterday.
I don't go well with a lot of rats. When did I
Well, it's quite a strong smell.
Was it,
But you know, I mean, the wonderful thing is that all the pictures are going to sell like that, you know, and he's charging quite a lot from that, like 30 grand.
Yeah.
So it's the idea that tonight the sort of Westbourne Grove is going to be pouring out with cool people.
Yeah.
And they're going in there trying to stop them. But paying all this money as well, it's
for the rat experience.
I think he looked very, he seemed very pleased with himself yesterday, but it looks good. I mean, he's doing some, you know, he's changing, he's evolving. Now, why artists do that, or seem to do that a lot more than musicians, and why do musicians tend to get so kind of sort of, and you know why? It's because they play live, and they feel they have to play the old songs, and that's what stultifies a lot of music, I think. You know, if there's that, you know, and if you just break out of that and you go, well, I'm not bothered about that. I mean, it's not that you're disregarding it or discarding it. It stops people. I've seen so many of my contemporaries who just because they need to for it to work, the big shows where they have to sort of load it with parts. They never really move forward.
I mean, that's one reason, but I mean, there's also a lot of bands are inherently limited.
Yeah.
In that they're learning, you know, they're learning 3 chords and starting from there. You know, they've got the bass player who didn't really want to be a bass player, but he wasn't quite as good on the guitar, and you know, and there's limits in there to begin with.
Yeah.
And then, as well as having to play the old hits, there's the having to keep the band together.
Yeah.
Because the band is what sells the tickets.
Well, yeah.
So there's that fundamental thing, you know.
But I just, you know,
astonishingly, it's the brand name that sells tickets to a
remarkable
degree.
Massively.
Yeah.
And as soon as people got a brand, that's it. They don't seem to. Their ambition seems to stop there, you know. And I, you know, maybe it's just the way I was brought up, or maybe it's because.
Maybe it's because you can do more than one thing.
No. But I've only that's only happened because I've put myself out there and I've worked hard.
Well, but there is a line, you know. There is also a line, you know, that goes through, you know, Bob Dylan, John Lennon, David Bowie, you know, Costello, whatever.
Yes.
For people who do quite deliberately go, well, not quite deliberately. It's not that. I'm not saying it's that artificial, but that's part of it, is that you do something.
Yes, but just because something's deliberate doesn't mean it's artificial. This is something which I've always. That's why I've never really got on with the enemy, for example, because.
But I chose the wrong word there. I don't suppose John Lennon said, right now I'm going to do an album of screaming, and that's not what I'm saying, you know.
Just excited about trying something new, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, were you always going to eat fish fingers and frozen peas, or are you going to try different kinds of food?
You see, but what you've done is you've created a brand which allows you to move around behind it.
Yeah.
So you've kind of, I don't know whether it was deliberate or not, but you've kind of looked at that and gone, okay, so that's what's going to say, okay, we can do that. We can take the fact that you need a brand, but then we can create a brand that is that it's distance from us enough for us to go and do anything right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was deliberate, maybe it was.
It wasn't deliberate, it just turned out that way.
Turned out.
Nice. Can I get that? Right, Joan. Hey, listen, are you going to go to Banks's?
I went last night.
Oh, you went already? You don't like it?
No, great.
Buy any
Why
rats?
did you go last night? It wasn't open last night.
You phoned me up.
Yeah, I know. I phoned you up as well. I went to see it yesterday.
I went later on.
Not going to forward going.
You want anything else? You heard about this exhibition?
Go for it. You want to drink, mate?
I know. That's local for that.
Well, I saw it, yeah. I was just going to pop round. No. We just hang out, yeah?
Can I get you?
All I want is a cigarette, a light.
Oh, a light?
Thank you.
Yes. So, are you kind of finished?
We can, if you want to move on, that's fine.
James going to finish his bacon sandwich, is that right?
No.
Absolutely not.
Finish your bag.
Bacon sandwich.
A couple of minutes while James finishes.
Alright, just send him into hair and makeup.
Okay, yeah, I'll be doing that today. The ketchup
Lots of
for the
makeup.
lips.
So it's something about the most manufactured band being the least manufactured, or something like that.
Something like that. Well, I think we like the idea that if you take yourselves out of focus, then everything you do is done for the right reasons, because it's never about you. It's
Hard
about
to have ego issues when you're
no,
not
you don't,
in
there's no ego issues, and it's all about every image of Gorillaz. There's a lot of work that goes into it, incredibly thought out. So that just follows in every area of it. There's no slack. It's not possible. We can't have a bad day. You can't have a bad day drawing. I can't have a bad day in the studio because we can't carry it with a kind of we're fucked today or whatever. It doesn't work like that, you know. If his pictures come out less than perfect, then it's not recognisable.
Yeah.
But, we did have a 3-year hiatus where we were where we just couldn't get it to work, make a film with DreamWorks,
Oh yeah, because that's
everyone
one of the things you were talking about. We were going to do a film, yeah.
Yes, everyone forgets that between the first and second album there was 3 years of just pulling our hair out, just not getting anywhere with DreamWorks.
So what? I mean, you had a storyboard.
Yeah,
you did all the work.
Basically, it was just not on the same thing.
As in, they had what you wanted to do, they wouldn't put the money into it.
DreamWorks have streamlined themselves into making some great and some really mediocre films for kids with lots of references to for the parents as well, to chuck their lots, you know. That's where they make their billions.
Yep.
And they like the idea. It sort of appeals to their egos to have some sort of slightly untested mavericks on board from Britain, but in reality, they can't let go of their philosophy at all. You know, I mean, you've got fucking Katzenberg, bloody Spielberg, Kevin. These are guys that really, really, totally believe utterly and with every atom of their body that they are right and that their vision is correct, and for them it is. But we're not. It doesn't work for us. We're independent of that.
And presumably, not that I know what I'm talking about, the Gorillaz film would be a very expensive thing to make. Maybe not. Maybe I don't really.
20 million or so.
That's actually no. Not
Well,
in film
relatively
terms.
speaking, not really. But I mean,
And did you at the end of that go, right, let's go find someone else? Or did you go, I'm not fucking doing films anymore if this is what it's all about?
well, I mean, our dream would be to work with Studio Ghibli, really. Studio Ghibli, the Japanese sort of genius epicenter of animation, which does most famously Spirited Away. But they tend to just work with, they're quite closed.
They've probably got their own exact
They don't need anyone
They don't
else.
need,
Right. I need to get down to the studio, so.
Microphone.
That's a microphone.
Oh.
It's PZM, right?
It's very posh, isn't it?
It is very posh. $12.99 from Tandy.
No, really?
Or Radio Shack. But it's a very old school analog set. I should have a little thing that size really, but whenever I've tried anything digital they go horribly wrong and you don't realise till after that you haven't got anything. And these are great because, well, Damon did it as well, but you go and interview Brian Eno and he says, oh, we recorded all of Acton Baby on 2 of those. They're like the cheapest mic in the world, but they're in all the big studios.
Really?
They're just, you stick them up on the wall and they pick up ambience and everything.
Alright, so you've got your little hook there. That's very good, isn't it?
And the mic's sort of under there and it reflects back into it.
Wow. High tech.
It's very low tech.
High tech, low tech.
Yeah. On the cusp. Now, you should, very artificially and annoyingly, you should tell me on the tape what you're telling me in there about what you're going to do at the Manchester show.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's alright. Well,
Puppets and things.
we've got there's visuals to go with the live music. So there's 17 songs I think in the set, which will be played by obviously the musicians, Damon and his band of collective musicians who play Gorillaz music, but they won't be seen. They will be at the back of the set on. They'll be silhouetted.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got gospel choirs and string sections which will also be on the stage, which will be seen, and then there'll be a front section to the stage where all of the guests who feature on the album come on and sing, and you'll be able to see them very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And then above everybody is a huge screen, cinema screen, which will be showing imagery which we are making here for the live show. Mm-hmm. So we won't be showing any of the videos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, we might be showing one of them, but we're creating new material for each of the songs. Mm-hmm. And well, most of the songs don't have any imagery to go with them, so we're making up new stuff here. So we're making little films and editing together visuals and bits of animation that we're doing, and we're buying up weird stock footage for certain songs. So there will be there will be a visual accompaniment to the music, but it's supposed to be, it's not supposed to be sort of in your face imagery, because it's more about the live aspect. So it's sort of like a film to go with it. And then there's it's an old opera house, Manchester Opera House, and they have these lovely balconies at the front, which are positioned. They're there to be seen in, not to see the show in. So they're positioned.
Royal box type deal.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, look who's in tonight.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So we're working with these guys and making life-size puppets of 2D and Murdoch, who will be sat up in the box like the grumpy old men from the Muppet Show.
Statler and Waldorf.
That's their names. Well done. I've been trying to remember their names for weeks. Say it again.
I think Statler and Waldorf.
It's definitely Waldorf.
Yeah, because I always think that the other one must be the name of the hotel.
Yes.
I think it's either Sadler or Statler.
That's
I
right.
don't think it is a hotel.
So that's basically the idea, that they will. I mean, they're not going to interfere too much, but they will
It's
be.
a homage to the Muppets.
Of course, yes. And it's that sort of. They're not playing, but they're watching their music being played, so they're going to give their opinions. And then on the Thursday night.
So they'll presumably be quite
Rude.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think because I misunderstood this. To be honest, we were sort of lured in by the understanding that this was sort of Gorillaz unmasked, as in we were going to see Damon and everyone. It's only 2 hours ago talking with Damon that I realised we're not going to see him on stage. He's going, of course not. And I think, oh well, there goes all my questions then.
Well, you'll see his silhouette
You'll
perfectly.
see his silhouette, but all you're going to actually see. The more conventional way of doing it is going to be the guest stars, the rappers, the Shaw, whatever like that.
Which will be fascinating to watch. I mean, we've always talked about, and Damon's stuck with this ever since day one, is that you don't ever see him.
No.
And I mean, I don't even think he has a credit on the album. And that's
Gorillaz partnership or whatever.
Yes, yeah, and I've always liked that. and I think he likes it as well. And it's not really about seeing him. So, you know, he won't be behind the screen. He'll be in front of a big coloured panel that changes colour, and all the band will have these panels behind them. So what you'll see is these great silhouettes of musicians with drum kits and keyboards and mixing desks, and there's 2 guitarists, there's a bass player, there's percussion, and it will look great. But I don't think you need to see Damon. We all know what he looks like.
So presumably Murdoch will think of this as sort of like a tribute, Gorillaz tribute band.
Yes, yeah, it'd be something like that. We haven't scripted what he's going to say yet, but no doubt there will be.
What would a Gorillaz tribute band be called?
Good question. But we're doing them the same week, because the Manchester shows go from Tuesday till Saturday, 5 nights. On Thursday night, we're opening the EMAs in Portugal, and we're doing a performance. We're doing something that's never ever been done, which is we're basically going to have the animated characters on stage with De La Soul. And we've got this new technology, which I won't go too deeply into because it's rather boring, but it enables us to have the characters appear. They've got this huge stage, and it's absolutely massive, with this ginormous red screen, which we're turning into turning into the window from Feel Good. And we've got the Feel Good Island floating past outside the window in this sort of dark, rainy sky. It's all lit beautifully, and they're on stage. Russell playing drums, Murdoch on his bass, 2D singing, Murdoch Noodle doing a guitar bit, and De La Soul are on stage with them, standing next to them. So it's never been done before.
This is the technology that you're going to use on the tour, is it?
Yes, yeah. This is basically this was a way of testing it, see if it works. And I mean, we've got a couple of weeks to finish it all off, and I've been to quite a few tests, and it's looking incredible. It really works, but it's very strange.
So it's going to be like seeing 3-dimensional.
They're sort of like very clear holograms, I suppose. But they're there. They're stood there, and Maceo, Pastor News, and Dave will be stood with them, rapping, and they'll be standing there looking at them. And everyone has their places where they're allowed to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you ran behind the characters with a torch, it might give it away.
But that's probably true of Sean Murder as well.
Yes, indeed, yes. So it does really, it looks incredible, but it's never been done before, and we're opening the show, and the EMAs is watched by an awful lot of people, we're told. So if it goes wrong, we're going to look very stupid. But if it goes well, which I'm pretty sure it will, the only problems we're having is that the MTV people keep changing their stage design every 5 minutes, and once we settle on one thing and figure out how to hide all of our technology and make it look great, they then say, oh, we're going to move this, and this is going to be another 50 foot longer. So that's caused some problems, but I think we've settled on the way it's going to look now. So I'm quite excited. I've got to be there that night. Oops, excuse me. But they tell us that we're up for 5 awards, and unlike the Brits, where you find out in advance what you've actually won, you don't know, they won't tell you. So
it's a bit of a problem for you, because you'll have to draw somebody going up to.
Well, they've asked us, we've got time, I think, to do one acceptance speech. But if we win more than one, then we've got a problem. So I don't mind going up and getting one. And we might
have to go, but as I said before.
and sure, we can talk De La Soul into going and picking it. If we get the best single, we can probably get them to get it. But then, if there's any more, we're in trouble, because we haven't got anything or anyone to go and pick them up. So we shall have to wait and see. But yeah, it's exciting.
Did I understand that right? That that's on one of the nights that you're in Manchester. This is the same.
That's on the Thursday night of the Manchester gig. So that night the puppets won't be there. Because of course they'll be in Portugal doing the live performance.
As well as your 3D.
No, but it'll be the 3D, but the joke is that they're not there now. I know.
Of course.
It takes a while, doesn't it? So yeah, that's like a tiny little detail that absolutely nobody's going to notice. But
well, there'll presumably somewhere on the website somebody reference the reason they're not playing is because they're going to the reason that they can't. Is that why the Manchester concerts can't have the band in? Because the band have got a prior or what?
Yeah, so that's it's complicated, but it's fun.
So where are you going to be?
I'm going to be. Well, I've got a ridiculous week. I've got to go to Portugal for the Monday for the dress rehearsals, and I'm coming back for the first night of the Manchester gig. Then I go back to Portugal for the Thursday night for the awards. Then I'm coming back for the last night of the Manchester gigs. So it'll be a busy week. But I mean, I just be sitting behind the scenes panicking. So
Yeah. Wherever you are.
Yes.
Behind the scenes panicking.
yes, I don't.
Doesn't matter what country you're in.
Yes. Well, it would be nice to be at home under my duvet panicking, the TV turned off. And then to get a phone call afterwards and say, yeah, it all went fine.
Yeah.
So, but, no, I'm looking forward to it, but we've been working hard sort of up until this point for all these different things. The videos happening at the same time as well, and the cribs as well. And we're working on an awful lot of stuff here, and doing the visuals for the show. So there's a big weight of stuff happening at the moment, and I think come the end of the Manchester shows will be a nice little breather, a few weeks to relax before the next thing. So
So clearly you're already working on the 2007 tour.
yes, yeah.
I mean,
That's
is
that's
that
a
going to
huge.
take a year to do? I mean,
We've estimated it will take probably 9 months to do it. But then again, it's all down to how many animators you have. If you get more animators in, they can do it quicker. But we work with Passion Pictures a lot, and we've always worked with them. Thank you, Mike. We've always worked with them on Gorillaz stuff. But at the moment, they're quite a big animation company, and just about everybody at Passion Pictures is on Gorillaz now. They haven't got any more space.
spare capacity.
Yes, so we've taken over the entire studio for these things we're doing at the moment. So this live show, I guess, will be the same. It will be a lot of people working on it, but it will be great because the idea is that it goes off touring by itself, and we add in new animation. We can personalise it to different countries, different cities, and as it goes on, we're actually going to create this sort of tour story of what's happening while they're on the road. So when they're not on stage at night, they'll be having adventures, and we'll be scripting that, and there'll be radio shows, and you might have Murdoch interviewed in Boston on the radio in the daytime, and the journalist, the DJ might say, "Oh, we heard something happened to you guys last night. You got in a fight or something," and then that night on stage, Murdoch went and busted nose, and
Someone could walk out mid-tour.
Yeah, we could lose. Yes,
We could lose a member for a couple of shows.
Well, yeah, we can totally write that the tour from hell,
Good.
and
That would be good.
and then the plan is that we want to animate this story that happens. So you have a 2D animated story of on the tour bus getting into trouble, getting arrested, all the stuff that happens, and then you drop in every song from the album from different cities, and that could actually be a film at the end of it. So that's basically we've got to stop having ideas because it's never going to end. We're never going to finish with this bloody Gorillaz album. So, and we've been working on it for over 2 years now, just preparation with the website and stuff, and it looks like we've probably got another year or so on it. So then it's done. We don't have to do it anymore unless we want to.
The live album.
There's talk of that. There's talk of a computer game, but I'm not sure about that. I'm trying to justify making a computer game out of Gorillaz. I don't know if it works yet. We will see. But needless to say, we're busy, so. This is the Bees. This is of the last album. This is Tim, who works for me, has been friends with the Bees since he was very young. He did all the album artwork and design and the first video for them. So we do sometimes get to do
Other
bits
things.
for other people. This is a lovely song.
The video you showed me, the fourth single?
Third.
That's is that roughly the stage at which it leaves here and goes to, or is it?
Yeah, that's coming back from Passion.
Oh, okay.
So they send me work in progress tapes, and I go over there regularly during the production of the video to draw scenes. So I do like key frames. So every sort of 10 frames, I'll do a.
Yeah.
But we've had the same team in Passion since the first album, the first video, pretty much. I mean, I've always worked with Kit Canderland, who's the animation director. So they're all really good at drawing in my style now. So there's less and less, apart from coming up with the idea and storyboarding it and sending them a storyboard edited to the song. I don't have to do as many keyframes as I used to, because they can draw just like me. In fact, maybe next time I won't even be needed.
Not just like you. So this is quite an old school way of this is. I mean, with all sorts of new ways of executing it at the end, but it starts out very.
Starts out on paper and
like
pencil. Yes.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hate for it all just to be done by computers. It doesn't have the same feeling. I mean, it's the same with all the artwork that we generate. Everything gets drawn on paper and then fed into a computer, and
It's quite interesting because the whole concept would be seen as very cutting edge, very high tech, and you're drawing on paper and he's recording on cassettes, 4-track cassette, and it's all starting out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It gets a bit high tech towards the end,
Well,
certain
of course.
things.
Yeah.
But it's I like to have evidence of what I've done.
Yeah.
Piles of paper with drawings on, and like you say, Damon will sit there with his 4-track. Just it's good because when he started making the album, from like the very first day he was putting ideas down, he'd come in with tapes and we'd stick them in the computer. So we listened to the album in its rawest form, and each time it would get updated for like a good sort of 9 months. Every day something new would come in, and it was a good way of working on it because that sort of helps generate ideas here for what's going on with characters and stuff on the website, and you just watch it sort of build into a finished album. It's a really nice way of working with things. And I like it when Damon brings in the sort of really raw sort of backbone of the song, which is just him singing rubbish, guy vocals on the guitar. I find that quite exciting, so it's a nice way of working. It's a labour of love, really. Basically, we employ all of our friends, all the people we've known for years who are the guy who writes all of the Gorillaz scripts, Cass Brown, who also plays drums on Gorillaz, is a friend of ours from years ago who's been in many bands, and it's everyone's a friend who's good at something, who we brought in to work on this.
So it'll come up with Murdoch's snappy one-liners at the gig.
Well, Murdoch's becoming Cass. Cass is very funny, very sharp, very, very witty man who I mean, his scripts get edited so much. When you read the original script before it goes off, and I'm literally crying with laughter. By the time it's in a magazine, they've cut out all the juicy bits, which is a shame because he is so funny. So hopefully one day we'll print the original scripts in a book because they're like radio plays. Some of them they're hilarious.
Gorillaz Anthology.
Yes.
Yeah. 6 CD set with a book.
Yes, we've.
DVDs.
We have a lot of material that we could, I suppose, put out if we wanted to, but I mean, there's always a danger of suffocating fans with too much stuff. We've been doing it, I don't know if Damon told you, we've been making a documentary since...
I think you mentioned the opera, the musical, the tour. Didn't mention the documentary.
There's a documentary as well. But this has been happening since the day we came up with the idea, when we lived together, sort of 7 years ago. A friend of ours has been filming a documentary of that's behind the scenes, the real life, sort of, with Damon playing music, and this is where we got the footage of Abraham Ferrer from. So he has something like 500 hours of footage of us touring and in different countries and De La Soul coming in and D12 and just about everything that's happened and on the real side of Gorillaz, which Seb is also at the moment editing. He's sitting through 500 hours of footage, which is...
So how are you gonna... how do you time that? Because that's like... as I said, I thought that Damon was going to perform as a human being in mountains. No, I can't do that. That would ruin the whole... never do that. So how do you decide when it's time to go?
When it's time to show that?
Yeah.
Well, it's getting closer, definitely. We haven't got the ending yet. But I think the EMAs and the Manchester gigs will be filmed as well by this guy. And they might act as the perfect ending. I mean, the EMAs would be a great ending because that's sort of like the dream come true, the thing that we originally discussed right back at the beginning, which is animated characters on stage playing to an audience, which back then was physically impossible. If we use that footage, then that's the end of our documentary, really. So, but as to when that would come out,
is that going to be the last thing? I mean, is that
it could be, yeah.
Okay, we're not Gorillaz have broken our musical differences.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 months later we show. But it's interesting because it's got all the stuff when they played, Damon, when we did the American tour, when we had a screen and everybody played behind the screen, so you saw silhouettes and figures and imagery. But he's filmed what happened behind the screen, and it's hilarious what goes on. And there's a bit where halfway through a song, Damon's singing, and his mobile phone goes, and he's chatting to his mum. No one can see it. And they're just throwing things at each other and trying to put each other off, and it's just really funny. So it's, I think for a real Gorillaz fan, I think it would be interesting viewing. It's got, stuff at the animation company and, how the videos are done, and it's a lot of interesting stuff, but it's also, it's a warts and all documentary. It's not, it's got us in all kinds of terrible states.
I find it very hard.
Yeah. But it's, it's another part of it, so yeah, we'd use that appropriately. Another hobby.
No, I'm okay. Thanks. I'm just thinking about the timescale of how many years you're working on one album and all its offshoots.
Well, it's different for me. I mean, obviously it's quicker for Damon because
that's it. There's the music. It's done.
Yeah, it's done. So, I mean, he's making another album at the moment. So, and I think him and Blur are doing something. So, but yeah, it's longer for us. But that's. We made a decision right at the beginning with the record company that we would do everything. So, from merchandise to marketing, that we would come up with all the ideas because we didn't want.
That's the way to do it.
We were worried that a record company would follow the sort of normal formula of how to sell a band. So we thought, well, we had a lot of arguments right at the beginning that we wanted to do it, and they turned around and said, okay, fine, we'll let you do it, and that was good of them, but it just means that it's a huge amount of work.
Did they say you'll be sorry?
They sort of said, yeah, go on.
Go on, shut.
They gave us that look.
I think it's easy, do you?
Yeah, and then we obviously quickly realised that, when I started work, I used to work from home drawing comics, and I wouldn't see people for weeks, and I'd just sit there by myself. The phone wouldn't hardly ever ring, and I'd just draw constantly. And now it's the actual time I get to spend drawing is sort of this much of the day, which is why we usually work late in the evening because the phone stopped ringing about 8 o'clock, and then I can concentrate. But the day is just made up of checklist, look at that, speak to this person, go and see this, and it's fine, but it's a different world. Yeah, I like sitting there drawing pictures. That's when I'm happiest. So I'm not used to delegation and teamwork. Well, I'm getting used to it, but it's it's taken a while. But,
Is it a very is it a logical step from comics to videos? Is it the same thing you're doing, or is it completely a different language to learn? Having
I think
never done either,
it's slightly different, but I mean, comics are quite sort of cinematic. I mean, you know,
it's all camera angles.
yeah, it's all about
yeah.
It wasn't that difficult a transition. It's no, I mean it's you know, I started out wanting to draw comics, and my biggest ambition was to have a DC series in America or something. We did that.
Not
so
Marvel.
Marvel would have been better. But they weren't really doing much when back then. So it's a great thing to sort of move on to. I feel quite lucky. It's good because we've got ourselves in a position, I think, with EMI gives money to do what we want now. Nobody seems to stick their nose in. So
it's remarkable what selling millions of records will do, isn't it?
Yes, I know, isn't it? I'm not allowed to draw any more flick knives. That seems to upset them. So flick knives and cigarettes. Now that we have a huge fan base made up of
guns are okay.
Kids. Guns are no, guns are not okay. We're not allowed to draw them either. So we're just on a big exhibition in the metros in Paris, which is going on, I think, this week. With loads of the Gorillaz artwork and videos being shown in one of their stations. So it gets obviously a lot of people see it. But we had to censor so many of the drawings. So much of the stuff had to be taken out by computer. Cigarettes and bare buttocks and tattoos and anything remotely satanic. And
it's surely that's nothing left.
I know, really, there isn't anything
guitars.
left. Some stick drawings and some guitars. So. Are you off? Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to. No. Okay, and Chu's going to be going to Passion as well.
She's just going to cut some sound effects onto the track, and then they'll send us all this tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, well, I'll leave you to take care of that. I'll try and do some drawing this afternoon. Yeah. See ya.
I thought there was a gun in the video you showed me. But maybe I'm just making maybe I just see guns everywhere.
There was a flare gun.
Flare gun.
Yeah, we've been very careful with that video because that was supposed to be the first single, and we have quite a good relationship with MTV, and you sort of have to have a good relationship with MTV if you want your records played in America. So they said, look, we love the song, but it's a bit of a risky song for a first single. So they got us to put it back to our third single. But essentially it's an anti-war song, but you have to be careful with the imagery that you show, otherwise they won't show the video, and it's an expensive video, and so there's sort of subtle little hints at it in there, but there's no guns. And the Red Cross was, I wanted the Red Cross on the side of the trunk because I wanted to show that, because the characters are sort of, saving.
Doing good.
Yeah. But somebody, well, I don't know whether foolishly or cleverly, got in touch with the Red Cross to say that we were using their symbol. I didn't even know you had to get permission for the Red Cross symbol, because you see it everywhere.
Good, it's a trademark.
Yeah, well, I've realised that now. Apparently they sued James Bond and won, so anyway, we had to change it. First we were going to change it to, after much negotiation, they said, well, you can change it to a green cross. So the poor guy at Passion Pictures had to go through every little bit of footage and turn it to a green cross. And then we got
the Green Cross code people.
We got a phone call from a pharmaceutical company and said, if you use that, we'll sue you. So we've now had to change it to a grey cross. And I think we're all right with the grey cross. We're waiting to find out. We offered the Red Cross a donation. We said, we're using it in a positive way, not a negative way. We're offering you a donation. But
you offered the pharmaceutical company that you'd buy a lot of their products.
Yeah, but they weren't having it either. So, So I think it's going to be a grey cross now. Is that Nadia creeping back to check on us?
So in the scene where presumably all the kids clamber in the back and then the doors close, some animated figure's going to close the doors. It's just something that will scream when the doors close.
No, they were automatic doors.
Whoa.
Yes, it was a South African sort of military vehicle that's designed for driving through minefields. Because the bottom of it is shaped like this. So you can just bomb through a minefield, and if the bomb goes off, then yes, it blow your wheels to pieces, but no one will get killed. So, but it had a little button in the front.
That's useful, isn't it?
Yes, isn't it?
Cool.
A little button in the front.
Might get a bit of a headache.
Yeah, you probably feel a bit bad. But yeah.
Yeah,
No
so
guns.
you don't have to get out and walk across the minefield and close the doors.
Well, you'd have to. A bunch of wheels have been blown out, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a bit of a dilemma,
Completely
isn't it?
useless.
Well, right now.
Completely useless vehicle,
You have
really.
to go
isn't
back
it?
the way you came, wouldn't you? Walking the fire truck.
It's like, isn't it like the science division of NASA who spent a fortune developing the biro that you could use in zero gravity, and then the Russians went and used a pencil. Goes up like that, but your wheels go, and you just got to get out and walk really slowly.
It's very slowly and careful.
Mm.
You go first. No, after you.
Yeah.
Did you get to drive it around?
No, I got to go up in the helicopter. We did lots of aerial shots.
Yeah.
So I got to fly in the helicopter with the cameraman, and who was one of these sort of extreme wildlife cameramen who likes jumping off bungee ropes into crocodile pits and stuff.
Oh, good.
And we were up there for hours, and I was watching the helicopter pilot, who was a very funny man. Was like this, and his leg was going like this, and I thought, oh, interesting. And then when we landed, we found out we actually had an oil leak, and there was oil gushing out the back of the helicopter. Everybody sort of like started panicking. Then he explained to me that flying a helicopter was like having a bit of A4 board and having a big ball bearing in it, and trying to keep it from rolling off the edges.
Yeah.
And that's basically how hard it is to. And we were up there for a very long time, and his leg was going like this because he was obviously exhausted.
Well, like if you go a little bit as you're over.
I mean, it's and the cameraman kept saying, "Let's go around again." He's hanging out the helicopter again. And we'll sit there. But yeah, we got back and there was oil pouring out the back of the helicopter, and the guy was like, So next video is going to be set here on this couch. I don't have to put myself in any danger whatsoever. But yeah, and it was fun. It was good. Definitely.
Yes, you must have a good relationship with MTV. That's a bit of a win-win thing. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I should be careful what I say.
No, I'm not. Yeah, it's tricky.
Well, it's it's just the whole point of doing all this hard work is to get it out to as many people as possible. You want it to be seen and for people to enjoy it and get into it. So in America, you have to be friends of MTV. They've been pretty good to us as well. I mean, it's they expensive videos take a long time, and it's good that they're on our side. They love Gorillaz, so and they've let us do an MTV quiz. So we're going to.
When will that go out? Any idea?
That's going to be finished the same day as the video and everything else. So it's going to go out, I think, in end of November, December. They're going to show it, but they re-show them again and again.
Yeah.
So it's.
What was it? That's the one?
It's 5. We did a 5-minute one. They do 5 minute, 10 minute, and 15 minutes. But I mean, they sent us a massive tape of Cribs to watch, and I've seen it before, and it's just a hateful segment. And it turns out most of the people hire these homes for the day to pretend that they're, it's like. And I don't quite know what this room is. I think it's my dining room.
Yeah.
I had this interior decorator come and. Yeah, it looks great. Loads of flowers and some terrible paintings, some awful furniture. Yeah. And they all have like a games room with a pool of computer games, and it's just like, it shows just what little taste these people have. And so it's a perfect thing to poke the fun at, which is sort of.
While always bearing in mind your relationship with MTV.
Well, the final edit that they've approved, they love it. They love it, but it's just that, like I said, our initial meeting, they said, be as outrageous.
They always do.
They do.
Everyone always does.
They said be as outrageous as you want, but no drugs, no sex. I think that was it.
No red crosses.
No red crosses.
No footballs.
Don't mention
Don't mention the war.
Courtney Love. Don't mention the war. Very careful. But I think I'm pleased with the final edit because we've kept in a lot of funny stuff, and they let us keep the toilet scene, which is funny. So.
So you're working on the opera as well?
The Manchester Opera Show.
No, an opera?
An opera. Oh yes, with Damon.
Yeah.
Did he talk to you about that?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Well, what he said was it's Gorillaz, but it's not Gorillaz.
Right.
So that's clear as anything.
Right. Okay. I don't know how much we've got to say about that, but
okay.
we spent 2 weeks in rural China,
Yeah.
hanging out with tribes,
Yeah.
which was fascinating. It was incredible little 2 weeks of. It was a crazy 2 weeks of bombing around in the back of a minibus, 90 miles an hour on mountain roads, swearing water buffalo and drinking moonshine with tribal elders and eating bees and pig's trotters and chickens' heads. Bizarre. But yes, it's
The opera's set in Notting Hill, is it? We just went there for the light quality.
It's I don't know how much it told you, but it's to do with the Beijing Opera.
Okay.
And it's a very interesting job that we weren't sure whether we wanted to do, so we had this trip to China to find out more, and we decided we'd do it. But that's next year. If I can squeeze it in. Will you come to the Manchester shows at all?
I don't think so.
No. So this piece this comes out before.
This comes out before, yeah.
Okay.
This, I suppose, the hook for this is those and which single? Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
Or would it be Dare? Be the current single, won't it?
I get so confused about release dates with everything pre-released everywhere. I don't know what the actual release date of anything is anymore.
No.
Something. There's a video. There's a single. There's a thing. This Dare's out, isn't it?
Dare's out,
Dare's
yeah.
out.
Been out a while now.
Is,
Dirty Harry's the next one. It comes out. Well, there you go. I can't remember either.
no.
I should know.
So it's true that Sean Ryder kept falling asleep when you were filming that, and that you actually did have.
Yeah, they
his
built a
head
mini.
in
Yeah,
a little.
the set builder from. What did he work on? Some great set builder who works, I think, with Tim Burton. I don't know. He built this miniature set with miniature floorboards and this neck brace with these little pipes and tubes.
Yeah.
And then we had to build the rest of the room around it, the CG, and they stuck him in it. Got in, and they slid this bit in, strapped it all up, and everybody kept sort of saying, we should get him out soon, he's been in there for 10 minutes, he's going to be getting uncomfortable. And he was just... he's fine, leave him. He's obviously fine for whatever reason, just leave him. And then we started playing the track and we turned on the song really loud and he started playing and he sort of woke up and instantly started singing but looked really confused. And we kept that bit in the video. And we kept that scene.
That dream again.
It comes up. And it fitted perfectly because obviously he plays a big dead head that's been reanimated. But he was brilliant. Everyone was really very, not scared, but a little bit wary of him because obviously he's Sean Ryder, but he was so nice and worked really hard and everyone said, well, what a nice bloke. But I'm sure if you got on the wrong side of him, you'd probably not be so nice. But no, he was great. But yeah, he was fast asleep, bless him. You alright, Sean? Yeah, fine, yeah. Done this before. Just get some kit.
It's the old head in the model room thing, is it?
Yeah.
One
Been
of
there
those.
before. Mm. I don't know how well that song will do in America, because I don't really know if the sort of MTV audience really know who Shaun Ryder is. I mean, in this country, everyone loves it because it's Shaun Ryder.
You don't really need to know Shaun Ryder. It's a big heading.
Yeah, I suppose so. If you look at it like that, I suppose so.
What's that old horror movie with Hitler's brain?
The what?
There's an old horror movie with Hitler's brain, isn't there? Where they keep the brain in the jar.
God.
I'm sure there is.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And if there isn't, there should be.
Well, there is, and of course it all goes horribly wrong because, as with all these things, mad scientist things, always, of course, they don't really know how to keep it alive, so
Yeah.
it gradually decays.
It has to.
And just sits there going, kill me, as you would.
I've had enough, kill me.
Yeah, so, but, no, you don't need to know Shaun Ryder. You don't need the backstory to appreciate they've got very weird blokes' heads.
I suppose not, no. Not when there's a video to accompany it. I suppose not.
You don't need to know any of them. It really doesn't matter who any of the guest stars are, which is interesting because, as with so much of Gorillaz, it kind of does bend the rules a bit because, you know, there's that whole industry thing of I'll be on your album if you're on my album,
Yeah.
or we can have Mary J. Blige for 50 grand or like that. It's because you get the name on the album. It doesn't really work.
No.
Doesn't really work like that, does it? You can just choose, presumably, well, wouldn't it be great to work with De La Soul? You know,
Well,
it doesn't matter if they're selling millions of records or haven't sold millions of records for whatever.
Well, it's just a case of asking, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the sort of the attitude we took. Just ask, and they can only say no. And we did ask Tom Waits,
Cool.
and he said he thought about it for a bit. Think about it, and then he came back. He was too busy. Which is fair enough. But almost everybody else said yes. So, I don't know whether it's because they knew the project or whether I don't know whether they wanted to work with Damon or Brian. I don't know. But it worked out. It's not like, you know, like you said, it's not like a deal. We'll then do something on your album.
Well, but most bands that sell, you know, X million records, that's what it is. Well, we need somebody from that market. We're a pop act, so we'll get a ramp up, you know, we're paying this much to do it just for their name. So there's not an awful lot of, or would it be great to work with them?
Well, it always like get Dr. Dre in to produce two of the songs, or one of the songs, and that's the single, and that's often the best song on the album, and then the rest is rubbish.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is why I totally understand why certain kids download the one decent track off the album and save their money for an album full of good songs.
You've got about 10 more minutes if you need it.
Thanks.
Presumably when you get the he probably does the lyrics last, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, presumably when you get to hear the lyrics, it's a pretty dark album. Probably just plays right into your strengths, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, I mean, he has certain lyrics quite early on, and I think that the tone of the song or the idea behind the song's there from an early stage, so sort of know what it's about. But yeah, he'll finish them all off at the end. But yeah, it is a dark album, but it's not sort of on a soapbox sort of.
No.
It's sort of all there really, but.
It's a similar worldview to yours, isn't it? You can
definitely.
See it immediately,
Yes.
you can see it in terms of your drawings. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, of course, I'm not going to do this. Sort of.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It's that's why I find it easy to work with him because we have a similar mindset, I suppose. But it ends on a positive note, I think.
Yeah.
It's optimistic.
Well, I was talking about that. Is it optimistic or not? And he was a bit ambivalent about it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, there's a sort of light at the end of the tunnel, isn't there?
Yes.
But very long tunnel, not much light. You know?
No, sure. Well, you know, the last 6 years have been a long tunnel, haven't they? So,
Yeah,
you know.
it's true. It's true.
I think it's optimistic at the end. See what happens tomorrow. Sort of attitude. Could be better.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. But that's, you know, that doesn't mean that we're both gloomy people who spend all day feeling very gloomy. I think we're both quite positive about the future. But you know, after the first Gorillaz album, there were so many offers for things, so much money was thrown in our direction from different people, and you know, we entertained a few of these ideas for probably about a year, and just found that we were both just not very enthusiastic about any of it. So we made a decision not to get involved with anybody, but just make another album.
A feature film.
Feature film, we dropped that, yeah. Yeah, well, they just... Yeah, I just wrote a whole film script, which they... and that was, you know, that's not really my job, writing film scripts, and it took a long time, and it was very grueling. But I was pleased with it, but it was just way too dark for DreamWorks.
I can't believe you can't find someone to get involved in that. But frankly, if you spend a year talking to people who don't get it, maybe you don't want to go through that again.
No, sure, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we said we would like to do a film, but I'd like to do it in this country, and it would end up being a cross between Yellow Submarine and Great Rock and Roll Swindle, probably. I mean, that's sort of the style, the idea, and I don't really want to make a $40 million DreamWorks family movie that takes 3 years to come out and is complete rubbish.
And then you get Randy Newman to write the songs.
No. And you know, there's no point in going to Japan and places like Studio Ghibli, because they have all their own ideas. They don't need our ideas. And I think the same in Europe. So we're sort of in this country left without a decent animation industry, film industry. I mean, you know, even Wallace and Gromit have gone off to DreamWorks, haven't they? So it's